I'm not a watch guy and I don't like things on my wrist, but due to a special request in the comments, I decided to test out the Google Pixel Watch 2. Here are 9 things I do not like about it and 4 things that I do like about it. I know it may sound a little negative, but for some reason when I was reviewing this watch, I just keep thinking about more and more things that I do not like. And of course, there's a few things I do like about it as well. But to stay to the end of the video, I'll let you know if this experience has convinced me to start wearing a watch or not. But without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into it. First thing I do not like about this watch is it does not do a good job of tracking my steps, especially if I'm using a stroller or in my mom's case, if she's using a shopping cart. It doesn't count the step that way because you're not actively waving your arm. I guess you can switch arms, but one arm I may be pushing the stroller, the other arm I want to use my phone. And I just wish there was a stroller mode or a shopping cart mode to detect that. It's not specific to this watch. I have the same issues with other smartwatches as well. So in order to actually count all your steps, you need to have your phone in your pocket or actually hold the phone in your hand. That raised the question, why do I need a smartwatch then if it cannot even count all my steps and I could just use my smartphone instead? Second thing I do not like about this watch is whenever I get a notification, there's a sound, which is good, but it goes away quickly. When I glance at my watch, there's really no way for me to look at the notification if I already missed it. I wish there was a way to flick my wrist or do some kind of gesture with one hand to even read the notification. It requires me to use my other hand to actually press on the watch, scroll around, or even press the button to find the notification. The situation where I find I use my watch the most is when I have one hand available. For example, I'm pushing a stroller. I want to be able to flick my wrist and just glance at it to see if there's anything important. And I find that I always have to use my other hand to tap the watch. But if I'm going to do that and it's something I want to respond to, then I gotta pull out my phone. So I might as well just pull out my phone to begin with. I just find it to be so many unnecessary friction, at least for me. And the thing I find to be the most annoying about this Pixel Watch is the whole Google Fit and Google Watch situation. And then there's also the Fitbit app. So there's like 3 apps from Google that all ties into fitness. When you first set it up, you have to download the Watch app. And then somewhere along the way, it tells you to download the Fitbit app. But why do I need 3 different apps just to set up this watch? It is so annoying to deal with all these apps. And the Fitbit app, it actually does not track the steps on my phone for whatever reason. I'm not sure if it's something I need to activate or do, but it doesn't count the steps. But the Google Fit app does count the step on my phone. So I notice it because I'm pushing the stroller. My watch is not counting the steps, but I have my phone in my pocket and I have 2 different apps up at once. The Google Fit is counting more steps. The Google Fitbit app is not counting any step. And the thing is so annoying. I wish the 2 apps just talk to each other, or why is there even 2 apps? It's just use one and ask the other. I find it very frustrating to use as a consumer who typically wouldn't even wear a watch to begin with, but I'm trying to convince myself to wear it and trying to see if there's reason why to wear it, and Google's not making this really easy for me. When I use Samsung watches in the past, it does a really good job of counting the steps on the phone and also on the watch at the same time, and then they sync with each other at some point or another. And Google is botching this whole track stepping situation for me. And I find that the most accurate way to track my steps is just use the Google Fit app or maybe even the Samsung Health app on my phone. So once again, why do I need a smartwatch to track steps if I can do it on my phone more accurately? Fourth thing I do not like about this watch is the battery life is not that great. It only lasts about a day for a $350 watch. That is no bueno. I use other watches on Amazon for $50 and I can get a week of battery life from those watches. They can count steps and they have a bunch of features that this watch does. So battery life is not that good. It lasts roughly a day and then I have to figure out when do I want to charge it, because I want to use it overnight to do sleep tracking. So I can't charge it overnight. But if I use it during the day, then I won't have it with me all the time to count all my steps. So I have to carry my phone with me to count my steps. So once again, it raises the question, why do you need a smartwatch? Before jumping into the rest of the reasons why I do not like this phone, just want to give a quick shout out to my partner Mint Mobile. Currently, they offer 5G plan for as low as $15 a month. You do have access to unlimited talk, text, and internet. In addition to that, you do have to buy 3 months upfront, but overall, it is a great deal, so make sure to check them out. Link in the description below. Fifth thing I do not like about this watch is you cannot watch YouTube on it. It's not something I would want to do every day, but it's more of a emergency or lazy situation where I don't want to go to the other room and grab my phone. For example, I was brushing my teeth. It would have been nice to be able to watch YouTube or even listen to audio while I'm brushing my teeth, washing my face, and I realized I couldn't activate the YouTube app on this watch. Okay, the Galaxy S24 is officially on my hate list. This is about the third or fourth time it happened to me that I finished recording the whole video. So a full 15-20 minute video. And by the time I finish, I realized it stopped recording. Don't even know why. It just recorded for the first 2 minutes that you guys just saw. And then the last 20, I've just been talking to a camera that's off. I don't even know how it turned off. Maybe it might have been the power button resting on the tripod. I think that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe it might have just activated the off button. Perhaps I can go into the settings and maybe deactivate it, or just be more careful about putting the phone on the tripod. Maybe since it's a small phone and just the placement wasn't the best, but definitely annoyed. Was super pumped. Was given the best review ever, only to find out that when I finished, it did not record. All my supplies away. Cried myself to sleep. And then here I am. Next day, going for a walk, fully rejuvenated through my 5 stages of grief and ready to resume the review. Okay. Sixth thing I do not like about the watch is that I cannot use YouTube music. You actually need to pair a headphone to listen to the music. I wish by default it would just play from the watch speaker, which technically it can. You can talk on it on the phone. I don't see why you can listen to music on it. I mean, if I wanted to use my earbuds on the go, that would be the ideal situation. But if I'm just at home, I'm brushing my teeth, and I just want to listen to some music on my watch, I don't want to have to go to the other room and find my headphones. Those kind of inconvenient. Little things like that causes so much unnecessary friction. I think by default it should just play music from the speaker or give you the option to select that. And if you want to connect the headphone, then you can. Lots of opportunity there and room for improvement with the Google Pixel Watch. Next thing I do not like is the fact that if you wear it in the shower, it can lead to accidental touches with the water hitting it. I end up reacting to message on Messenger, sending a random text that said love, which I had to go and unsend later because there are 100 people in the chat. I just wish there was a way for Google to at least recognize rainwater or at least water droplets versus your hand touching it, or at least recognize that and then go into some type of mode where it is less sensitive. So now I have to think twice about wearing my watch while taking a shower, or at least disable the messenger notification on my watch so it does not come through and end up reacting randomly by accident. Little things to keep in mind that you don't really notice or think about until you start using a watch. But these days, there's definitely technology to improve that. For example, on OnePlus 12, they have the Aqua Touch mode where it lets you use the phone while it's wet. So there should be some kind of reverse engineering to figure all that stuff out. Eighth thing I do not like about this watch is price tag. It was launched at $350 in October 2023, and currently it is June 2024, so 8 or 9 months later. Finally went down a little bit to $300. I still think even at $300 it doesn't really justify the price tag. I've used Samsung watches in the past, even new and used, for under $200, and I feel like I'm getting the same functionality, if not more in some cases. I don't see why this watch should cost $300. No really standout feature that make me want to use it. Maybe if it was $100, I would consider keeping it. $350. It's a little bit too much. Next thing I do not like is Fitbit Premium. I don't even know what that is. So if you have to spend $350 on a watch, first thing you agreed when setting up the watch is if you want to sign up for a 6-month free trial. I feel like you have to spend this much on a watch. You shouldn't need to pay more for premium features, whatever that is. I don't even know what would be a premium feature. I'm getting this watch just to track my steps, do basic exercises, sleep tracking. I don't even know what else I would want that I would want to pay for. Anyways, so that kind of irked me a little bit. So I didn't sign up for the trial, then I gotta remember to cancel it. More of the story, no Fitbit Premium for me. Not trying to give Google more recurring revenue than I already am. I'm already paying for Google storage and basically using all these Google products don't want to pay for another add-on. Now that I've finished being a negative Nancy, let's jump into 6 things that I do like about this watch. First of all, I like the sleep tracking features. Pretty cool. When I go to bed, I can just wear it. On the first thing, I was debating whether or not I want to wear this watch. I personally don't like wearing watches. It feels kind of cumbersome and my wrist gets sweaty. It's a little heavy. It does annoy me a little bit, but just for testing purposes, I did decide to wear it to sleep. And I got used to it after a couple of nights. It's nice to be able to wake up in the morning, see your sleep data, let it tell you how bad of a sleep you're getting. I'm not sure what else I'm going to do with the data. But it's nice to see if I'm having like good or bad sleep. Overall, it's a neat little feature. You don't really need to do much or activate it. It just does it automatically. Second feature I do like is the ability to talk on a watch like the Power Rangers. I almost forgot that it had this feature. It's not something I plan to use on a daily basis. But I was going on a walk with my baby, holding the stroller. Wife called. I noticed my wrist was vibrating. So just hit answer, talk on a watch. Pretty nice and seamless. Don't need to take out my phone. So little things like that does come in handy. You're not going to have a full-on 1-hour conversation on your watch, even though technically you can if you wanted to. But it's nice to have that built-in functionality. I don't talk on the phone that often, but for the rare situation that I do, I'm glad that this feature does exist. Apologies in advance for the lighting. Just going on a walk if you haven't noticed. Sun is beaming behind my back. Trying to get my walk in before it hits 95 degrees later on in the day. Heat wave coming in Boston this week. The next thing I do like about this watch is just the notification feature. This is a basic functionality of all smartwatches, but it does come in handy because in general I tend to have my phone on mute. It does vibrate, it gets loud depending on what phone you're using. For whatever reason, the Motorola phone, when I put it on vibrate and sitting on the desk or phone stand, it sounds like there's an earthquake every time a notification comes in. So I just end up muting it, or sometimes I put on do not disturb mode, and then I may miss important phone calls or texts just because everything is completely muted. I know I can go into the settings and then optimize it to put exception, but when I switch phones so often, you gotta do it for every single phone. So little things like that do get missed, so it's nice to have the extra notification on my wrist where I can just glance at and then decide if I want to address it or not, and then pick up my phone to use it. So basic functionalities. Next thing I do like is the ability to change the wrist strap. They made it really easy to do. I didn't need to research or do anything. Although when you first set up the watch, I think there was some tutorial that walked you through how to do it. I personally just skipped through all that and figured it out on my own. The watch strap that it came with was on the smaller side for me, so they have a backup band that was bigger. I just switch it out, you pop off the button, slide out the strap, put the new one in. Pretty easy and seamless. I remember when I used Moto 360, one of the first Android, if not the first Android smartwatch that came out 10 years ago. That watch was such a pain to change the wrist strap. I had to bring it in to a watch store to do it for me. Later on, I figured out how to buy my own watch kit to change it myself. But now, you don't need to worry about it. They make it really easy. You can change straps, customize it to your likings. So, small quality of life improvements that matters. And it goes without saying, fifth thing I do like about this watch is the ability to tell time. I know you get watches to tell time, but you can get it from so many resources these days. Most people just use their phone. If you have a computer, you can see time on your computer. A lot of people got clocks around the house. But for this phone in particular, it's like being able to use it to tell time. That's what you get a watch for, right? Because the current phone that I'm using, the other Moto G stylus, for whatever reason, it does not have always on display. Not really sure why. All the major manufacturers have it. Samsung, OnePlus, Apple, everybody has always on display. Motorola does not. They just have the at the glance feature. You hold it up, it will show you the clock. They have always on display on their watches, so I don't know why they don't put on their phone. Slightly annoying there. I guess I can see why they don't put on your phone so they can incentivize you to buy the watch. With this phone, since I do not have always on display more, I end up just looking at my watch more often for the time. But if I were to use any other phone, I wouldn't really need that basic function. May seem self-explanatory, but I just like having the simple feature of being able to tell time on my wrist. For example, I'm washing the dishes or doing things where I don't have my phone on me. It's easier just to flick my wrist and glance at it versus digging in my pocket or trying to find my phone to figure out what time is it. Last thing I like about this watch is the auto detection whenever you're working out. For example, I was on a treadmill the other day, decided I was just gonna go for a walk going 3 miles per hour. But I have this app where it lets you compete against other people, and all of a sudden people are flying by me as I'm casually going on my walk. Then I got competitive and I started running, and then the watch detects that as well. It tells you whether you're doing moderate or vigorous exercise, so it's nice that it's able to auto detect that and start tracking the active workout. And this is what differentiates a premium watch that costs $200 to $400 compared to a random one on Amazon that may cost $50. Most of those cheaper smartwatches on Amazon, although the battery life is great and it will last you a week, but a lot of times they don't have those auto tracking functionality if you're working out. So those are what are considered premium features that I do like on this watch. Samsung watches, Apple, I'm pretty sure. Actually, Apple, I don't think it does it automatically from the few anecdotal stories that I hear from my friends, because my wife has a Samsung watch. It just automatically detects if you're walking or go into workout mode. But on Apple watches, I hear you have to actually go in and activate it. Maybe one of these days I might test out the Apple watch, but in general I'm an Android guy. If I switch to an Apple watch, I gotta change the whole ecosystem and potentially get stuck in it. A lot of Android watches these days are interchangeable. Pixel watch, you can use it with the Moto G stylus. Everything's been fine and seamless so far. Or you can use it with Pixel phones or any other phone. I don't know if you're able to use an iPhone, probably not, but you can probably do a quick Google, or I can look that up later. So in conclusion, this watch has been nice. Using it is going to change my mind whether or not I want to start wearing watches. Probably not. I still prefer to not wear watches. If the sleep tracking feature is nice, I wish the walking feature would have better detection if you are using a stroller or even you're on like a stationary bike. I just wish there was better tracking there. You'll notice when you're using a stationary bike and you hit the bike mode, it will show GPS. Maybe it'll still track your breath work and your heartbeat and things like that. I don't think all these small features like the ability to talk on my phone is really going to justify the $350 price tag on this phone. I'll continue to test this watch out a little bit more, but let me know if there's anything in particular you want me to cover. I think the next accessory that I'm particularly interested in is smart ring. I'm curious to what Samsung has in store whenever they make their announcement. I think wearing a ring will be easier, even though personally I don't like wearing any rings. I still like things on my neck, on my wrists, on my fingers, but I think a ring will be lighter than a watch, and battery life is supposedly going to be better. I assume it'll be better at tracking your steps, your sleep, if it's on your finger at all times, but we shall see. Actually, I don't know, maybe you might have the same problem if I'm pushing a stroller, then it's just going to be in one constant motion moving forward, but we shall see how that's going to work in the long run. Smartwatch, still not for me, or even regular watches in general, it's not for me. And smart glasses are cool too, but I mostly just use it for the video functionality on my Ray-Ban Meta. So I think that is one use case that I would have a smart glasses for. But we continue to see as these things grow and evolve, see how people use it in their normal everyday lives. I don't think the Pixel Watch is worth it for me, just for the price tag and basic functionality, the poor battery life. I think you can get better value with older Samsung watches, buy it on used or refurbish. You can get similar functionality at a much lower price. Alright guys, appreciate the time as always. Remember to like and subscribe. Please check out my last video where I talk about 12 things I like and do not like about the Moto G stylus if you haven't already. Appreciate the time as always. See you guys in the next video.